Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind! This is the official Lightning Flash update for July 24th, 2021. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! I got a lot of energy today because today we got a shit ton of material to talk about, including, as you can see by the thumbnail, two of the biggest names in the modern pro wrestling era could be headed to the land of the elite. And of course, based on what happened this week in terms of WWE, you know that I got a shit ton of rants planned. And I'm telling you, I don't want to put out any false advertisement or clickbaits out there, but I'm telling you, this LFU could very well be the biggest LFU that I've ever done this year because of the rants that I am going to go on later on in the stream. Let us check the chat, though. Let us check the chat. We got my number one mod, Didi. We got Renegade Ryan. We got Big Boy Johnny. We got Peanuts. We got Matt Moody. But that is not enough. I want more people in here. Is Hoolagrim here? I see Hoolagrim. There's Hoolagrim. He's in here. Great to see you, Mr. Hoolagrim. We're going to need some more people. We need as many people as we possibly can get. So far, we got 9 likes. So far, we got 6 concurrent viewers. I was a little late to setting everything up, so I didn't have enough time to properly promote everything that I wanted to promote. But regardless, we are going to have a damn good time, and we got a lot of material to dissect. It's going to be an LFU for the ages. It's going to be an LFU for the ages. So here's what I need y'all to do. Before we get into anything that we are going to get into, first things first, I'm going to need you to follow me, of course, on the Twitter sticks. The Twitter sticks, of course, at HistoryMakerDJS. You'll find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Please go and follow me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMakerDJS. If you have not already done so, please make sure you follow me on Instagram as well at the DJ Storms. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. If you guys missed the rewind for WWE Money in the Bank 2021, please go check that one out. I actually thought that it was one of the best rewinds that I did for a specific pay-per-view. The chat was rocking and rolling. We had about like 18, 19 people watching at once at one point. So we had a lot of good people. We had a lot of good people in there. If you missed it, please go check that out. Also, I will be checking. I don't believe I put it in the link of the description. I don't believe I put it in the description, but I will put the link for a specific review that me and Miss Top Rope Squishy, shout out to her, she had me on her channel again this past Thursday to review Fyter Fest night number 2. It was a blast. I absolutely adore her. I cannot wait to see her when AEW comes to New Jersey. It's going to be a great time, but if you missed that, I will be sure to put the link in the description after the stream is over. If you missed that, how you doing, Ruben Day? How you doing, Brasher? Please make sure you smash those like buttons. We got 11 likes so far, but we got goals here that we want to reach. So, when you come in, you got to make sure you hit that like button. We want to get to at least 30 likes. That is the goal. The chat's going to be booming, and I'm going to need you guys to share out the stream on all platforms of social media because we're going to be rocking and rolling with some rants later on in the fucking show. Please make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I'm talking about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Tumblr. Make sure you share it out so that way we can get as many people in here as possible. Make sure that everyone knows that DJ Storms is live on YouTube with the LFU. Everyone. We want to make sure everyone's in here. I'm talking about your mothers and your fathers and your brothers and your sisters and your sons and your daughters and your aunts and your uncles, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your second, third, fourth, and sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th cousins twice removed, 3 times removed, 4 times removed, even 5 times removed. Your dogs, your cats, and especially Testing, a 1, 2, 3, a do, re, mi, you guinea pigs! Because I'm telling you right now, my laptop is crying out for help because I got so many fucking articles lodged in my laptop that specifically state, and I quote, that if guinea pigs are exposed to DJ Storms, their heart rate is said to be healthy. They are said to live long, happy, healthy, fruitful lives. I'm telling you right now, if you got a guinea pig, you gotta make sure that the guinea pig knows that DJ Storms is live on YouTube.com with the LFU. Of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube because it's the only time you're going to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. I know Danielle was asking where the comb is. The comb is right here. The comb's right here. This comb that has more value and intelligence than everyone in the IWC combined. Outside of me, of course, because I'm the smartest man alive. So we're going to light it up here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. We got 14 likes so far, and we are not going to waste any time. We are going to get right into the news, rumors, and reports. Keep on sharing out the stream, getting as many people in here as possible. I will be sure to check the chat after. That's right, I will check the chat after the news, rumors, and reports section is done before we get into the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you very much, Madison Stahersky, for letting us know that the guinea pigs are watching. Please make sure you hit that like button. Ruben Day, how you doing? Thank you very much for hitting them like buttons. Please make sure, keep on sharing them out because we got a lot to talk about and we're not going to waste any time. I'll check the chat after the news, rumors, and reports. Let's get straight into the festivities here. So first things first. This first report, how you doing, Alan Holland Jr.? How you doing, Alan Holland? Great to see you. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up and you share out the stream. We got a lot to talk about, and I mean a lot to talk about. Cool King, baby! Rob Wells Jr., I knew you were coming in as well. Please make sure you hit that like button. We're going to talk about the news, rumors, and reports, baby. We're talking about the news, rumors, and reports. It is vital. It is vital this week. But my first report comes from WWE. And apparently, according to PW Insider, Naomi has quietly been moved from Raw to the Smackdown brand. Now, I have two questions from this. Number one, if Naomi was going to inevitably be moved to the Smackdown brand, this came about nearly 24 hours after Money in the Bank. Not even. So if Naomi was inevitably going to be moved from Raw to SmackDown, why didn't you just give her the briefcase? Why didn't you give her the Money in the Bank briefcase? Why didn't you have her in the plans to win the briefcase, cash in on Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, turn heel, and join Roman Reigns and the Usos and make the bloodline even stronger than it already is? I don't get it. Now, granted, she's on SmackDown now. We could possibly see her get built up over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long they want to take to build her up, and she could potentially beat Bianca Belair after SummerSlam and win the SmackDown Women's title and then join forces with Roman and the Usos. But I don't understand why you would pass up on making a fantastic moment for the women's division, because the women's division right now, there is absolutely no luster. There is absolutely no buzz or interest around the women's division on Raw or SmackDown combined. The women's division right now on both shows is at its lowest point. SmackDown specifically because of how they're being booked. Because if you take a look at SmackDown on paper, they got a damn good fucking women's division, which is going to lead into my second point. But my first point is, I don't understand why you would pass up the chance on making a great moment for someone like Naomi and for the women's division by having her cash in on Bianca Belair at SummerSlam in a shock moment and turn heel out of nowhere to join Roman Reigns and the Usos and make the bloodline more powerful than they already are. If Naomi was going to move over to SmackDown, why didn't you just give her the fucking briefcase? Because I have seen many people pitch that idea in and around the community leading up into Money in the Bank. I saw various people pitching that idea. If that was an idea that was very, very popular floating in and around the community, I would understand why you didn't go forth with it. That would have made for a great moment. That's number one. Number two, while the SmackDown's women's division looks damn good on paper, why exactly are you neglecting the Raw women's division? Naomi was one of the few people on that women's division on Raw that could have actually wrestled. You take a look at the SmackDown's women's division, and they're looking like the best that they've ever been. They're looking like they could rival the NXT women's division. You got Bianca, you got Sasha, you got Liv Morgan, Carmella's not bad. You got Toni Storm, you got Shotzi Blackheart, you got Tegan Nox. Sonya Deville is set to make an in-ring return. Then you add Naomi? That's a damn good fucking women's division. But why does Raw have to suffer in return? Why do you need to make something worse just to make something better? Why do you need to tear down something else to build something else up? That's shit creative and shit business. You don't take away from something to build something else up. Look at the Raw women's division as it stands right now. Alexa Bliss, Dana Brooke, Eva Marie, Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, she's going to be coming back any fucking day in the fall. Look at who your champion is. Look at who your fucking Raw Women's Champion is. And that's another topic of discussion, because I'm going to bury everyone that supports Nikki Trash a little bit later on. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss that. The Raw Women's division right now is just as bad, if not worse, than the Divas division was over a decade ago. On top of that, the women that can actually wrestle on the show, you've booked into fucking oblivion. Asuka's been booked like shit. Rhea Ripley's been booked like shit. Shayna Baszler's been booked like shit. Charlotte Flair is just flat out garbage altogether, no matter what anyone says. How exactly do you plan on fixing the Raw Women's Division if you're moving everyone that can actually wrestle from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown? Why are you putting all your eggs in one basket and neglecting the other? You can't fucking do that. I don't want to see one division flourish while the other suffers. I am for the betterment of everything. I want to see everything flourish. The SmackDown's women's division is great on paper. They just need better booking. But the Raw Women's Division, my God, the Raw Women's Division, I cannot even begin to tell you how bad the Raw Women's Division is. If Naomi was set to move to SmackDown, you should have given her the briefcase to begin with. Number one. And number two, if Naomi was going to move to SmackDown, what fucking plans do you have in place to fix the Raw Women's Division? It cannot stay in the state that it's in right now. It's only going to get worse as the weeks go on. That's my first rant, but I'm telling you right now, that's tame compared to what I'm about to get into later on. But that's later on. Moving on to my next report. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer actually stated that AEW is interested in signing Buddy Murphy. He confirmed that Murphy could very well be a free agent soon. Meltzer stated, and I quote, "I know Impact Wrestling is after Buddy Murphy, and AEW is as well." End quote. Now, if that happens, I would not have a problem with that whatsoever. Buddy Murphy is a fantastic professional wrestler, and Buddy Murphy, he was never given the proper opportunity to succeed. So, if we do end up seeing Buddy Murphy a part of this working relationship with Impact and AEW and potentially New Japan Pro Wrestling, that would be great for all of these companies. Buddy Murphy is a great fucking hand. Buddy Murphy is a guy that I can absolutely see as a top TNT champion if they want to put him in there against a guy like Miro or Sammy or Black, Andrade, Darby. Think of the endless amount of possibilities that we could get by seeing Buddy Murphy in AEW. If this happens, I would not hesitate to sign Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is a guy that not only could be a solid TNT champion, but if you want to, if he gets himself more over than he should be from his in-ring work alone, we could potentially see a meteoric rise of Buddy Murphy to the World fucking Championship because of how good he is in the ring and how people connect with him. That's the one thing that Buddy Murphy was never given a chance to do. He was never given the ability and the opportunity to connect. If he is given that opportunity in AEW, we could potentially see the next top-tier breakout star. The guy is in phenomenal fucking shape, and the guy he's got plenty of years left in him. So if this is going to be a grab for AEW, I am all for that. I'd say go for it. Moving on here, according to Jonathan Ross Sapp, you know, the guy that I live inside of his head rent-free. Jonathan Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, he stated on his Raw review that he received a text message from an NXT source. He received a text message from an NXT source which said Kross's loss, Karrion Kross is lost. If you did not see Monday Night Raw, I don't blame you. But Karrion Kross lost on Monday Night Raw within 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy. And Sean Ross Sapp received a text from an NXT source stating that Kross's loss, quote-unquote, felt like a message being sent to NXT directly from Vince McMahon. Sapp added that he thinks Vince does not give a damn about NXT, so this kind of booking may come as no surprise to a lot of people within the WWE. Sapp also discussed how there's a lot of frustration backstage within the NXT team over Karrion Kross's loss on Monday Night Raw. All I gotta say to that is, no shit! No shit! And trust me, I'm gonna bring that up when I rant on Karrion Kross's loss when we get to the Raw review. Trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for that. I am just getting started. This has been boiling up all week. I'm just getting started. Fightful Select also reported that WWE filed a trademark on July 16th. And the trademark, and this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. This is just a spit in the face to everything that WWE has done for its fans. They filed a trademark on July 16th for the phrase, "Complaining is not conversation." I kid you not. And I quote, "Complaining is not conversation." Let that sink in for a little bit. So, pretty much what this stated was, we don't give a shit about the fans. We're too egotistical and we're too fucking stubborn to admit that the way that we're conducting business backstage is not the right way to go about things, and we're just going to blame the fans when we know good and well that what we're producing is shit television, but we're going to act like it's good because we're too stubborn to admit when we're wrong. And the fans are not justified in complaining. If you don't like it, don't watch. All this fucking bullshit. This doesn't surprise me whatsoever that they would do this. And to be quite honest with you, I would not be surprised if they make this shit into a fucking t-shirt for somebody. I wouldn't be surprised. But fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck Vince McMahon. Fuck WWE. And fuck all their supporters. We're going to jump into the main bit of news. This is actually huge right here. And I was very much looking forward to talking about this. This piece of news broke on Monday. According to PW Insider, Daniel Bryan is no longer in talks with WWE, and he doesn't have merch to be released anytime soon. And he's not on the active roster anymore internally. That came out on Monday. News broke literally moments before Dynamite went on the air that Daniel Bryan reportedly signed a deal with All Elite Wrestling. According to Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net, Haynes said Bryan is quote-unquote locked in and 100% signed a contract with AEW. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. According to Fightful, one of the biggest stars in this century of professional wrestling could very well be headed back to the sport. CM Punk. And I never talk about CM Punk, so you know that this is fucking legit. CM Punk has been in ongoing talks for an in-ring return. Sources tell that CM Punk could very well return as an in-ring performer, and AEW has been indicated as the most likely landing point. Fightful has no confirmation of the contract officially being signed, a timetable, a set return, or any creative plans. Only that Punk and a company official have had an ongoing conversation for a while now about an in-ring return. Fightful has heard companies had interest in Punk returning after fans were allowed back, but no offers have been made towards him. They have not disclosed anything, and everything is being kept quiet. No specifics have been made public until recently, about a day or two ago, when Ringside News actually came out and reported that CM Punk had reportedly inked a deal with with AEW. I almost said WWE. But CM Punk reportedly inked a deal with AEW. And you know something? I do not deny it whatsoever. I do not deny it whatsoever. After everything that's been going on, let me tell you something. CM Punk is one of the biggest fucking trolls. He knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to pull the strings and pull on the heartstrings of the fans. If CM Punk knew that these reports were bullshit, don't you think he would have came out and said something? Don't you think that CM Punk would have came out and he would have trolled everyone, or he would have called out the source? He's remained silent. CM Punk has remained silent throughout this entire week. He has not said a word when it comes to this specific topic. He has not called out a source. He has not called out a promoter. He's not called out a wrestling fan. Nothing. And you know that CM Punk cannot fucking keep his mouth shut. CM Punk's got one of the biggest fucking mouths in pro wrestling. If CM Punk did not ink a deal and CM Punk did not sign anything with AEW or any wrestling company, he would have called them out. He would have said something publicly on social media that would have set everyone into a frenzy, stating that, hey, I didn't sign anything. Do you need any more indication? And on top of that, I don't understand why you would deny Daniel Bryan signing either. Daniel Bryan and what he's been doing, Daniel Bryan, he wanted a lighter schedule, he wanted creative control, and he wanted specific dates where he doesn't need to work full time. So at the end of the fucking day, if Vince McMahon couldn't give him that, you know for a fact Tony Khan's not going to pass up on that. Daniel Bryan wants dates to work in Japan as well. He wants to work New Japan and test himself. WWE, when was the last time WWE actually fucking did business with a company outside of what's been going on? WWE doesn't give a shit about pro wrestling. WWE does business with everything not related to pro wrestling. They're doing business with fucking Rolling Loud. They're doing business with fucking Peacock. They're doing fucking business with Saudi Arabia. They're doing business with everything and everyone outside of pro wrestling companies. Meanwhile, AEW has done business with New Japan, Impact, NWA. Need I say more? So Daniel Bryan signing with AEW, that doesn't come as a surprise to me. And CM Punk, that don't come as a surprise to me either. I knew that when AEW first came around that CM Punk was always going to be a possibility because of what AEW represents. Whether you want to admit it or not, AEW is what pro wrestling should be. AEW embodies pro wrestling. AEW eats, sleeps, and breathes pro wrestling. AEW is pro wrestling. If you don't enjoy AEW and you're not a fan of AEW and you're just pushing this hatred narrative for AEW, then you're not a pro wrestling fan. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit what you've done. I don't give a shit how many years you've spent in the business. AEW is pro wrestling, and that is a fucking fact. And if you cannot grasp that, then you should not be anywhere near the term professional wrestling. What worked back then does not work now. Stop living in the past and saying, oh, well, wrestling was so much better back then. You're letting nostalgia cloud your mind. You're letting nostalgia cloud your mind. AEW is not perfect. Matter of fact, I have shit on many of things that AEW has done, including what happened with Jericho's fall at Blood and Guts, including with what happened at Revolution in the exploding barbed wire death match, including what has gone on with the women's division up until a couple of months ago. I have called out AEW when they have made flaws. But as an overall product, what they've been doing overall for the last 2 years has been very good. And if you're going to try and deny that, or try and say, oh, it's not for me, it's this and that, spot monkeys, wrestling was so much better back then, it's too choreographed, it's too corny, then you're not a pro wrestling fan. AEW is pro wrestling, and it's exactly how pro wrestling should be operating in this era. Storylines built around a sports-driven product with competitors that are serious, focused, and determined on proving why they are the best in-ring competitors on the planet, showing you what the titles that are on the line mean to them, with characters mixed up in between, and boom, you got AEW, and you got what is right now the best wrestling promotion on the planet. I don't give a shit how many New Japan Pro Wrestling marks are out there. AEW is number one, hands down. You don't believe me? Tough shit. I am right and you are wrong. Deal with it. So it does not surprise me that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan would sign. Matter of fact, I fully believe that we are going to see them. Punk is set. He's set for All Out. At the end of that show, after Hangman Adam Page wins the World Championship from Kenny Omega, we are going to see the lights go out, and we're going to fucking hear Cult of Personality, and that building is going to get burnt to the fucking ground. CM Punk's about to fucking break the fucking internet. Then you add Daniel Bryan. And the reported date for Daniel Bryan, he's going to debut inside Arthur Ashe Stadium for AEW Grand Slam on September 22nd. It's going to be a big fucking month for AEW in September. And on top of that, the tides were already turning. The winds of change were blowing, and the momentum was shifting into AEW's favor. I knew for a fact that AEW was going to gain momentum behind them, and I knew for a fact that AEW was going to take the wrestling world by the balls, and they were going to make history one way or another. They were going to take the audience of the wrestling community, and they were going to turn them in their favor. I knew it was going to happen, and sooner rather than later, AEW is going to become bigger than the WWE. I knew one day it was going to happen because WWE continues to get worse while AEW continues to get better. Now you add Punk and Bryan? I'm telling you, the momentum is going to shift all the way from WWE to AEW quicker than anybody even expected. It is going to be fucking huge. CM Punk is signed. Daniel Bryan is signed. And when they show up in September, I'm telling you right now, everyone is going to be singing their praises. And if you're not singing their praises, then you're the fucking problem with the wrestling community. This should bring everyone together. We're on the cusp of fucking history. We're on the cusp of something that we have never seen before in this era. I'm not saying it's going to be as crazy as the fucking Monday Night Wars era, but this is fucking huge. This could be a fucking resurgence of professional wrestling, and professional wrestling could very well become even more mainstream, but in a good way. WWE doesn't know how to fucking make pro wrestling mainstream. AEW has made pro wrestling mainstream here and there in some factors, but in a good way. We don't need WWE to cater to the non-wrestling fans. AEW has never strayed away from what their sole focus is, and that's pro wrestling. WWE, they sacrificed their core value, and that's pro wrestling. They sacrificed that all for the almighty dollar. And they cater to the mainstream media, and they kill everything pro wrestling related just for money. AEW is not going to do that. AEW has not done that. They have stuck to their guns, and they focus on pro wrestling. And that's how they're going to gain more traction. That's how they're going to gain attention. That's how they're going to gain more audience members and more eyes on their product. They're going to stick to their guns and focus on pro wrestling. Punk and Bryan are signed. Those are the news, rumors, and reports. Let's check the chat because we're going to get into the Monday Night Raw review, and I'm telling you right now, you are not going to want to miss out on this because this is going to be a big fucking rant session, and I got a lot of fucking shit to say. We got Danielle. We got Earl Cole. How you doing, Mr. Earl Cole? Rob Wells Jr., thank you for sticking around. Thank you, Courtney Holland. I greatly appreciate you. You are fantastic. We got 21 likes so far. That is great. I want to see more. Let's see if we can get to at least 30. 30 is the goal, people. 30 is the goal. Now, let's talk about Monday Night Raw because I think a lot of people were waiting on what I needed to say about Monday Night Raw. I think a lot of people were waiting, so strap in, people. If I was to describe Monday Night Raw in a nutshell, if I was to describe Monday Night Raw in a nutshell, I would have to say that this was undoubtedly the biggest middle finger from WWE to its audience since Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble in 2015. I don't think anything will be as bad as that, but WWE tried their fucking damnedest, to outdo what they did at the Royal Rumble. They sat down and they discussed how they could top what they did at the Royal Rumble, how they could make it worse, and they did everything in their power to make it just as bad. This show was absolutely one of the worst Monday Night Raws of all time, and leaps and bounds the worst Monday Night Raw of the year thus far. I would even go so far as to say that this Raw was worse than every single Raw that we saw during the fucking pandemic, when there was nobody in the Performance Center, and they were putting on shows out of the fucking Performance Center for 6 months straight. This show was fucking horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. And I find it so fucking funny that everyone was jumping for joy and everyone was getting all excited that we were getting fans back because they magically fucking thought that things were going to get better. What happened? What happened? You got a show that was worse than anything that we saw throughout the entire pandemic era. And get this show had John Cena, Goldberg, a returning Keith Lee, the debut of Karrion Kross, a Money in the Bank cash-in, and live fans, and they still couldn't break 2 million viewers. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? More and more people are starting to catch on to WWE's bullshit, and more people are not going to stand for WWE's piss-poor creative and absolute lack of care and lack of effort when it comes to these shows. This show was one of the worst Raws I have ever seen. And trust me, I got a lot of shit to say, and we're going to break the shit down that made this show one of the biggest middle fingers from WWE to its audience in quite some time. The show kicked off with John Cena, which was the best. He was the best thing on the show. So the show kicked off with John Cena. He hyped up the crowd. You could tell he was very happy. Crowd was getting all hyped. He goes, "Yes, I'll wear the Peacemaker outfit at Suicide Squad premiere. And I ruined the championship celebration of Roman Reigns, and everyone had a lot of questions. You, as in the fans, brought me back, and it was also Roman Reigns. What am I here for? The WWE Universal Championship. Where? SummerSlam in Las Vegas. Why? Because Roman Reigns is an asshole, and I believe he needs to be knocked down a peg. This version of Roman Reigns, this pathetic Roman Reigns experience has gone on long enough. If you're good, you demand they acknowledge you. I'll tell you now, I'll be at Smackdown on Friday." All of a sudden, Matt Riddle came out. Crowd was chanting bro. They went back and forth stating bro. They had a bro off, if you will. And then they fist bumped and that was it. Decent promo here by Cena. I'm not going to shit on John Cena for cutting a good promo. What happened with Riddle was entertaining, which led into the next match. But at the end of the fucking day, why was Cena on Raw? To pop a fucking rating. And guess what? Even he couldn't make the ratings boost up over 2 million. With what they had on the show, they should have had 3 million viewers easily. But no, more and more people are starting to realize what WWE is doing and how shitty the WWE product really is. Matt Riddle and the Viking Raiders versus John Morrison, Johnny Drip Drip, Johnny Shit, AJ Styles, and Omos. So, this is a fun little tag team match, fun little 6-man tag, probably the best thing on the show, outside of John Cena. Fun little 6-man tag. Show actually started off fairly decently, I'm not going to lie. So, Omos and Styles, they isolated Riddle before Riddle eventually made the tag to Eric. Styles traded strikes with Eric. We had a big running knee strike to the face and a punt knee strike to Styles. We had a Pele kick by Styles to Eric. Ivar and Morrison went at it. We had a big cartwheel lariat and a Bronco Buster. Ivar then missed the moonsault. Morrison with the sliding knee. Morrison missed the Starship Pain. Riddle then sprayed Omos with the drip stick. Omos turned around and he thought that Miz sprayed him. Miz was trying to wheelchair his way up the ramp. Morrison was trying to fight off whoever was in the ring with them. I believe it was one of the Viking Raiders. Styles was trying to hold Omos back, and in the ring, Morrison got thrown back into the ring by Omos, and we had a Viking experience, and the Viking Raiders and Riddle win. Fun little match, and then we get the Viking Raiders versus AJ and Omos again next week. Yeah, because it's not like they lost clean at Money in the Bank, right? Elias was in the ring. He was doing his usual bullshit. You expect anything different from Elias? What does WWE stand for? A walk with Elias. Riker then came out and he said, after tonight, nobody will hear the words, "Hello, my name is Elias," ever again. So we had Elias versus Jackson Riker. This was a Symphony of Destruction match. And I'm not going to say that these guys didn't work hard. It's not like this match meant anything, but I will say this. This was probably their best match that they've had in their series of matches. This was probably their best match. So, Riker hit Elias with a keyboard. Elias then used the symbol against Riker. Riker then took a guitar. Elias then hit Riker with a knee. Riker sidestepped Elias, and we saw him go sailing into the gong. Riker then smashed the guitar over Elias's back. Coming back from commercial, they were fighting on the apron. Elias then tried to wear down Riker. Riker then got smashed over the grand piano. Riker hit a spinebuster to Elias on the piano. That got a 2 count. They brawled onto the piano. Elias tripped up Riker, back first onto the piano. Elias then took a cello. He busted it over Riker's back twice. Riker still kicked out. Riker then busted Elias open. Elias was slightly bleeding. Riker then suplexed Elias off the top through 2 tables. And Elias is pinned. 1, 2, 3 by Jackson Riker. You know, I find it funny. Out of everyone on the fucking show, Jackson Riker has been ranking up the most wins. He's beaten Elias about 4 times. He pinned Cedric Alexander. I'm not sure what they see in fucking Jackson Riker, but man, why is Jackson Riker the one that's ranking up wins? Why is Jackson Riker the one that's ranking up wins? Why aren't we seeing this for Ricochet? Why aren't we seeing this for Damian Priest? Why aren't we seeing this for Matt Riddle? Why are they doing it for fucking Jackson Riker and nobody else? Makes no fucking sense. Probably their best match to date. Not that it means anything. Oh, great. My favorite part of the show, Charlotte Flair. Which, by the way, I'm not sure if anyone in the chat knows, but we live by a code here. I think Brad Hilborn just joined the chat. So did _ Jurassic Catch. How you doing? If you haven't already hit the like button, please hit that like button. Hit the like button if you know the code. I think everybody knows the code here on the channel. We have a specific code here, and Stevie just joined the chat as well. How you doing, Stevie? And I think Stevie knows the code here on the channel as well. And that code is, of course, fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair came out. She took the microphone. She says, "This feels good. I don't feel good. I feel as though my intestinal condition is getting worse just by watching you, bitch." She says, "I'm proud to be standing here as your queen and your Raw Women's Champion. I am the opportunity that you've all been begging for. I don't need to take a page out of anyone's book. I created the book. Just look up hashtag Charlotte Flair." Crowd was chanting for Becky. And I fucking, yeah, Cameron Johnson's in the fucking chat. And I just completely fucking forgot. Fuck Charlotte Flair and all of her support. This is how pissed I am. Trust me, I'm gonna get into Keith Lee and Karrion Kross and Nikki ASH, TRASH later. Trust me on that. You're gonna want to stick around. You came in at the right time. So she said how she's an 11-time Raw Women's Champion. Realistically, she's a 13-time Raw Women's Champion, but her NXT title wins mean nothing. Man, I wonder why. It's not like Vince McMahon wanted to send a message to NXT after what happened with Karrion Kross. So Rhea Ripley come out. We hear, "This is my brutality." Rhea Ripley comes out. She took a mic. She was very serious. She says, "If you think you can beat me, how about tonight?" Charlotte said, "You're in no condition to compete." Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville then came out. Sonya congratulated Charlotte like we needed Sonya Deville to suck Charlotte's fake tits off anymore. And then we got the match. We get another match between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Great. Charlotte then took a cheap shot at Rhea Ripley's leg, and she left. And that was pretty much that. Another worthless fucking promo. Natalya and Tamina versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Who gives a shit? Super kick by Tamina, and the tag team champions win. Can you guess who took the pin? Was it Nia Jax? So the only other woman in the match was, oh yeah, Shayna Baszler. How many fucking times has Shayna Baszler been pinned at this rate? She hasn't won a match in, 170 days? Afterwards, they actually ditched Reginald. All of a sudden, this 24/7 title bullshit. I can't even begin to tell you how this is still a thing. I'm not even gonna rant that much on the 24/7 title because I want to save that for fucking Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley. I got a lot of shit to say about that. Reginald is the new 24/7 champion. I fucking hate this show. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Karrion Kross. It was announced that he was making his Raw debut just out of nowhere in the middle of the show. Then we had Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo. Decent match, but who gives a shit? Wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. Sheamus is very good. Humberto's very good. But at the end of the fucking day, who cares? This is all leading towards Sheamus and Priest, in which Damian Priest should win the United States Championship. If Damian Priest does not win the fucking title, I am fucking done. Decent match, who gives a shit? Bro kick by Sheamus. Sheamus wins. Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley. He came out for his open challenge, and he was ready for the challenge. He took the mic. He says, I did all the talking I needed to do last night when I destroyed Kofi Kingston. MVP hyped up Lashley. MVP trashed Dallas for being a city that hasn't seen a winner in forever. MVP was getting the what chance. And he says anyone going forward faces annihilation and decimation, and no one will take this championship from the almighty WWE champion. No more bullshit. All of you get to bear witness to the most dominant WWE champion. They wait to see who accepts the challenge. All of a sudden, Keith Lee resurfaces. Keith Lee is alive. He lives. He has been resurrected from the grave. Keith Lee is not dead. Keith Lee still has air in his lungs. Keith Lee's blood is still pumping through his veins. And Keith Lee resurfaces and accepts the challenge. Bobby Lashley and Keith Lee, this match went 5 minutes. And it was terrible. They barely even got started, and Lashley hit the spear, pins Keith Lee, 1, 2, 3 clean. All of a sudden, we hear that dreaded music. We hear the dreaded dun 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 dun. Who the fuck came out? And Dallas, like a bunch of fucking idiots that they are, chanting fucking Goldberg. Goldberg came out with the fucking sparklers. I'm spitting all over the place. Goldberg came out with the fucking sparklers. He stares Lashley dead in the face and he goes, I'm next. Lashley was backed off by MVP. And that was it. If I was to describe this to you, this was the biggest troll job from WWE that I have seen in years. If you needed any more indication of what Vince McMahon thinks of its audience, look no further than this. Keith Lee was taken off of television. Keith Lee was taken off of television in February of 2021. He was taken off of television on February 8th. And that was less than 5 months after they called him up to the main roster and they changed everything about him. They put him in a singlet. They changed his theme music. They changed the way that he wrestles. And by the time he fought McIntyre for the WWE Championship, which was a very good match, he was a shell of his former self. Then he was taken off of television, and everyone was trying to come up with what the reason was. Was it COVID? Was it an injury reason? Was it a health reason? Did Vince tell him to lose weight? Some people were pitching that. I was the one that told you exactly why Keith Lee was taken off of television. And after what happened here, everything that I said rings true. Keith Lee was taken off of television because they did not want to fucking use him. Keith Lee was taken off of television because they saw no value in him whatsoever. For whatever fucking reason, Vince McMahon, White Castle Pritchard, my name is Mr. John Laurinaitis. I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations. All these idiots didn't see anything in Keith Lee. Why? Because they're fucking out of touch. So they took him off of television. Why? Because they didn't want to fucking use him. They saw no value in him. He came back. He didn't look like he had COVID. He didn't look like he was dealing with an injury. He didn't look like he had a health issue. He didn't look like he was forced to lose weight. He looked the exact same as he was 5 months ago when he left. Vince McMahon deliberately took Keith Lee out of the shadows to put him out there on Monday Night Raw and feed him to Bobby Lashley while everyone's jumping for joy. Keith Lee is back! Oh my God, he lives! Keith Lee is gonna fight Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. No Bill Goldberg! And what happens? Keith Lee is brought back. He loses in 5 fucking minutes. He loses in 5 fucking minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he's taken off for another 5 months after what happened on Monday Night Raw. He was taken out of the shadows to shut everyone up. Vince McMahon wanted to troll the fucking audience deliberately to have Keith Lee lose, only for a 54-year-old aging dinosaur that nobody wants to fucking see come right down after the show, look Bobby Lashley dead in the face, scream I'm next, and get a title shot for no fucking reason. You took Keith Lee, a guy that is universally loved by everyone, management, superstars, fans, a guy that has all the potential to be the next big thing, a guy that should easily be the face of the brand or the face of the company. You take him, you put him off of television, then you bring him back only to have him lose to Lashley and then shove him to the side for a guy that has go-away heat worse than Roman Reigns from 2016 and 2017, and the only reason why he was cheered is because it was the first Raw with fans back, and fans would cheer anything. They fucking cheered Tamina at WrestleMania. Nobody wants to see this match. No one cares about this match. No one gives a shit about Bill Goldberg. Nobody does. Bill Goldberg is so vehemently hated because of what happened with Bray Wyatt that nothing that he does is going to interest fans whatsoever. Nothing. If you needed any more indication of what Vince thinks of his audience, look no further than this. And here's the fucking crazy thing about it. What exactly is this going to do in the long run for the ratings? And what is this going to do for Lashley? The ratings weren't even above 2 million this week. Look at what happened. They were 1.9. With Goldberg, Cena, a cash-in, live fans, they should have been at 3 million easily. And they weren't. What does that tell you about Bill Goldberg? Bill Goldberg ain't a fucking draw. And if you care about the match, you're part of the fucking problem. If you support this shit, you're the fucking problem. You're the reason why the fans, you're the reason why the company is not getting any better. And I hate you for it. And I absolutely despise you. What exactly is this going to do for Bobby Lashley? Let's go back to the Royal Rumble in 2021. Let's go back to 6 months ago. What happened at the Royal Rumble? Wasn't Drew McIntyre the WWE champion? Didn't he beat Bill Goldberg at the Royal Rumble? How did that work out for Drew McIntyre? Was he any better off after he beat Bill Goldberg? He lost the title 3 weeks later to the fucking Miz. Now he's in a feud with Jinder Mahal. I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby Lashley beats Bill Goldberg and then they give the fucking title to Akira Tozawa in 3 weeks. If it did nothing for McIntyre, and McIntyre's actually worse off for it, what makes you think it's going to do anything for Bobby Lashley? It will do nothing. It will do absolutely fucking nothing. The casual fans don't give a shit. The hardcore fans don't give a shit. Look at the ratings. Nobody gives a shit. And if you do, you're the fucking problem. And I got no fucking respect for you. The biggest fucking troll job. The biggest fucking troll job that I have seen from WWE in years. You take a guy in Keith Lee, who should easily be at the top of the card by now, and you push him to the side for fucking Goldberg. I don't know when Keith Lee's contract is up. When did he sign? 2018? I'm not sure if they modified his contract. I'm not sure if they extended his contract. I'm not sure what's going on with Keith Lee. But if I was Keith Lee and they did not extend my deal and the contract that I have is still an NXT contract, I am telling you right now, I would fucking walk out of that place and I would not even bother signing a new contract with the WWE. And I would get the fuck out of there. Gone. I don't care where he goes. I don't care what he does. Anywhere but the WWE. If this is how they're going to treat him, he should walk. If he re-signs a new deal, I have absolutely no fucking respect for him. He's going to be no better than what happened with fucking Zelina Vega. Is it that hard to comprehend? Am I making sense? Or are you just too retarded to understand? I gotta fucking take a shower after this fucking stream. I'm not doing anything. I haven't done any fucking yard work, lawn work, and I'm fucking sweating my balls off. I'm sweating my ass cheeks off. Jinder Mahal. He came out with Veer and Shanky. He said it was his birthday. And Drew is not Mr. Money in the Bank. So they ran down the history of Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. Shanky then started singing Happy Birthday to Jinder. Drew McIntyre came up from behind Jinder Mahal, hit him with a chair. Then he started to hit Veer and Shanky. Shanky was on the receiving end of over 20 chair shots, which looked brutal. Drew McIntyre, like a fucking madman, an absolute fucking madman, just wheeled this chair on Shanky. Absolutely brutal shit. And props to Shanky for taking this. But this program sucks. If this is going to be the undercard match at SummerSlam, we're headed towards something much worse than what happened at Money in the Bank 2018 with Jinder and Roman. This was absolutely brutal, and this was very, 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 very fun to watch. It's fun to watch Drew McIntyre beat the shit out of someone, but at the end of the fucking day, this program is fucking terrible. Anything with Jinder Mahal is shit, unless you're AJ Styles. And even then, AJ Styles had to work his fucking ass off to give Jinder Mahal a semi-decent match. Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross. He made his main roster debut. He came out with no crazy lights, barely any crazy lights, no smoke, no theatrics, no Scarlet. Last month, WWE, they pulled Karrion Kross and they put him on main event against Shelton Benjamin. And they stripped him of everything that made him must-see. They stripped him of everything that made him stand out. In this day and age, it's very hard to make any wrestlers really stand out from the next. Triple H had it right with Karrion Kross, and they made Karrion Kross stick out from the pack. And then Vince McMahon, they just changed everything. They just changed everything about Karrion Kross for no fucking reason. And then they started copywriting people that put the clip from main event out on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook because they knew that they fucked up. They knew that they fucked up, so they started copywriting people just to try and save their asses and cover up their fuck up. And then they doubled down on it. They didn't have him come out with any smoke, any lights, no scarlet, no nothing. No nothing. They made this guy look like the blandest, most boring fucking wrestler you could possibly ever imagine. Now he just looks like everyone else. Now he looks like everyone else. Nobody stands out. Why is it that in NXT, everyone stands out, but on the main roster, nobody outside of Charlotte and Roman can stand out? Why does everyone have to feel the same outside of those two? And then he took on Jeff Hardy. Hardy came out to no more words. The crowd was going nuts. This could have been a great first program. I didn't even mind this. This could have been a great first program for Karrion Kross and Jeff Hardy. It really could have. Would have been a great first program. A pure babyface like Jeff Hardy. A guy like Jeff Hardy who even at his age can still go. Fans love Jeff Hardy. Would have been a great way to get Karrion Kross over as a top heel. Would have been a great program. This had all the makings of a great undercard program that could have resulted in a match at SummerSlam that could have given Kross his first major pay-per-view win. And what happened? Match starts. Karrion Kross, he suffers a twist of fate. Jeff Hardy misses the Swanton Bomb. Kross went for a move. Hardy powerbombed Kross to the floor and rolled him up in a jackknife cover with his feet on the ropes, and the ref didn't see it, and Karrion Kross loses. Karrion Kross loses in 2 minutes. Karrion Kross loses in 2 minutes. And afterwards he cuts a promo. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. I legitimately don't even know where to start. After everything that was done in NXT, this guy was in NXT for 15, 16 months. And he ran through everybody. This guy was in NXT for 15, 16 months. And they built him up over an extended period of time, beating guys like Tommaso Ciampa, Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Santos Escobar. This guy was taken and he was put on the main roster and he loses in 2 minutes. And people are trying to justify this. How can you justify that? You don't see a fucking problem with that? And then people want to say, oh, well, you know, Jeff Hardy's feet was on the ropes, so it wasn't a clean look. I don't give a shit. A loss is a loss. This wasn't a 20-minute hoss fight with Samoa Joe, and he wasn't choked out. He was pinned. He was pinned 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring in 2 minutes flat. 2 minutes fucking flat. This guy had all the tools to be a fucking megastar. He had all the makings of the next big thing, and you put him on Raw, and you kill and destroy every single bit of momentum and every last bit of fucking potential that this guy has. And then fucking Rosenberg, fucking Peter Rosenberg, this fucking loser, this fucking short loser that wants to come online and say, oh, well, yeah, I used to think I know everything about the business, but, you know, he was rolled up and now he's in a fucking program. Who gives a shit he's in a fucking program? He lost in 2 minutes via a roll-up. And on top of that, They did not even give him a few weeks of vignettes and promos to hype up his debut. All they did was say, oh, he's debuting right in the middle of the show. At least with Toni Storm, at least she was hyped up over the course of 2-3 weeks, getting ready for her debut on Smackdown. I don't give a fuck what you think about Karrion Kross. I don't give a shit whether you think he's overrated. I don't give a shit whether you love him or you hate him or you think he's average or you think he's great. The point is, whether you want to admit it or not, Kross has value. Kross has all that he needs to succeed on the main roster. Kross has value, and Kross should have been protected. Kross should have been used to his fullest. Kross should have been used in a manner where he would have gotten over, and he should have been made to look strong. He didn't lose and look good in defeat. He looked like a bum. He looked like a complete fucking waste of time. I thought Keith Lee and his main roster debut was bad. My God, they blew that shit out of the water with what happened with Karrion Kross. And after what happened directly after the show, and Sean Ross Sapp received a text message saying that a message was sent, of course a fucking message was sent. If you need any more indication that Vince McMahon hates NXT and he's internally trying to ruin everything that Triple H has created, look no fucking further. Vince doesn't give a shit about anything. He doesn't give a shit about anything. It all stems from pettiness and jealousy. And you want to know what the worst fucking part about all this is? The worst part about all this, did you see what the guy was wearing? Did you see what the fucking guy was wearing? He was wearing the NXT Championship, which I'm not sure if you realize this, but do you remember a few months back, about 6 months ago, when Edge won the Royal Rumble, and then he came to NXT when Finn Balor was the NXT champion, feuding with Pete Dunne, and he goes to Finn Balor and he says, you're operating on a completely different level. And that is intriguing. We focus on that second W here in NXT. Edge went to NXT and put over the fucking brand. Edge went to NXT and praised the fucking brand and pretty much acknowledged NXT as a third legitimate brand. And he acknowledged NXT and the NXT Championship as a third legitimate world championship. What happened to that? I guess that was a fucking waste of time, because now Karrion Kross, 5 months later, is the NXT champion, and he loses. He loses in 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy. WWE, Vince McMahon, showed you exactly what they think. They took a gigantic, wet, steaming, whale shark-sized dump all over everything that Triple H created with NXT. I am done with NXT. I am done investing my time fully in NXT, and I will never, ever again give this company the benefit of the doubt. And the funny thing about it, here's the crazy fucking thing about it. Out of everyone on that fucking roster that they could have chosen to make a fucking example out of, to send a message to NXT, out of everyone on that roster that they could have chosen, they chose Kross. They chose Kross of all fucking people. Think about that. It is absolutely fucking unreal that people are going to try and justify this. And I hate throwing this word around, but the guy is buried. His mystique is gone. His luster is gone. His importance, his aura is gone. It went up in fucking smoke the moment that the referee's hand hit the 3 count. His undefeated streak is over. He was beaten as the NXT champion, and he was stripped of everything that made him must-see. What do you want me to fucking say? Did I miss any points? Did I miss anything? fucking say. I just want to fucking end it right there. I just want to end it right there. And I still got fucking 4 more shows to talk about after I'm done with Monday Night Raw. I'm like the fucking Wicked Witch of the West. I'm fucking melting at this rate. And if anyone cannot fucking comprehend that, you are just as retarded as I say you are. Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss hosted Alexa's Playground. She welcomed back Lily. Oh, great, Lily. Great. So now we gotta fucking sit through this fucking... This paper mache doll that looks like it was made in fucking arts and crafts. Great. She welcomed Eva Marie and Piper. Piper, I shall not call her Dewdrop Niven. Same shit as we saw the other week. Eva Marie and Piper Niven went to leave. Eva fell over. Lily rocked back and forth in her swing. They left and that was it. All I'm going to say as it relates to this is, if this results in Alexa Bliss making Eva Marie disappear, never to return to the WWE ever again, I will never say a bad thing about Alexa Bliss ever again. Pretty sure Cameron Johnson's probably messaging Vince McMahon to make that happen. Because he simps for Alexa Bliss. Sorry, Cam. The Viking Raiders versus AJ Styles and Black Great Khali, a.k.a. Omos. Raw Tag Team Championship rematch next week. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. Who gives a fucking shit? Who gives a shit? Did you expect it? If you expected me to take notes on this, you're sorely fucking mistaken. This was the same shit that we saw last night, but 1,000 times worse. Charlotte Flair tried to leave with the championship. Charlotte Flair tried to leave with the championship. Rhea Ripley went after her, and Charlotte Flair hit Rhea Ripley right in the face with the championship. Charlotte Flair hit Rhea Ripley right in the face with the championship. And they caused a DQ. We had a big fucking brawl. Rhea Ripley dropped Charlotte Flair with the riptide on the floor, threw her into the ring. All of a sudden, the fucking shitty superhero music hit, and fucking Nikki Trash comes sprinting down the ring. Nikki Trash comes sprinting down the ring. She cashes in her Money in the Bank contract. She hits a crossbody, and Nikki Cross pins Charlotte Flair to win the Raw Women's Championship. What do you want me to say? I'm at a loss for words. There are not enough human words in this fucking dictionary. There is not enough human words in the human language that is going to describe how bad this was. I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start on this. And all I can do is fucking laugh. All I can do is laugh. All I can do is fucking laugh. Because if I don't, I will end up throwing my fucking laptop through the fucking window and breaking the window. And then Thunder will come down. Thunder will come down and he'll fucking strangle me to death and he'll make me pay for the broken window. If you know who Thunder is. He'll come down. I'll break the fucking window. And then he'll strangle me and make me spend all this fucking money to get the window repaired. If I don't laugh, I'll end up breaking everything that you see behind me. Where do I even begin with this? First off, why are you even booking a fucking rematch? Why? Rematches fucking galore. How many fucking rematches did we see on this show? Viking Raiders and AJ and Omos, another fucking rematch. We saw Charlotte and Rhea, Riker and Elias, Sheamus and Humberto Carrillo. Another fucking repeat of last week's Alexa's Playground segment with Eva Marie and Piper Niven. It's the same shit over and over again. It's the same shit over and over and over again. Nikki Cross, Nikki Trash. There's some people that actually want me to be fucking happy for her. Why don't you be happy for Nikki Cross? Why don't you be happy she's finally getting this opportunity? Why don't you be happy? Oh, you hate puppies and unicorns and rainbows and all this fucking bullshit. Be happy. What exactly is there to be happy for? The woman sacrificed her dignity, her self-respect, and the quality of her character, all for money and a token title win. You want me to be happy for that? You want me to fucking be happy for a woman that pretty much said fuck you to all the fans that supported her back when she was in NXT? You want me to be happy for a woman like Nikki Cross that catered to an individual in Vince McMahon that she knows doesn't give a single shit about her? She knows that Vince and Bruce and Nick Khan and John Laurinaitis, they don't give a single shit about her. And the only reason why she was pushed prior to this gimmick was because she was tag teaming with Alexa Bliss. It's not about getting a fucking moment. It's not about just merely pitching a character. It's about knowing your fucking worth. This company does not value Nikki Cross. If I am in a place of work, I have stayed at the same fucking place. I have had one job my entire life, and that is me working at a fucking supermarket. If I knew that I was not valued, if I knew that I was not valued, you know what I would fucking do? I would walk out of that building. I would not, and I mean I would not sit there and cater to a demented boss who I knew didn't give a shit about me just to get a paycheck. The money is one thing, but one of the main reasons why I've stayed at the supermarket that I've worked with my entire work life is because they treat me with respect. Management treats me with respect. They do not force me to do anything that I'm uncomfortable with. They do not try and make an example out of me. They do not try and embarrass me. I do my job to the best of my abilities, and they reward me for it. If I knew that they would look to embarrass me, make an example out of me, force me to do shit that I'm not comfortable with, or they treat me badly, you know what I'm doing? I'm walking right up to management, I'm giving them a middle finger, and I'm walking out of the fucking building. That's what I would do. I would not sit there and cater to my boss just because I want a paycheck, just because I want to be treated better. I know my worth. Nikki Cross gave the biggest middle finger to the fans when she went to Vince McMahon and Nick Khan, and she catered to Vince McMahon and Nick Khan with this character because Vince wants characters, no matter how wacky or how outlandish. And then Nick Khan, he wants fucking Marvel and DC all over WWE. Nikki Cross sacrificed everything that she was in NXT just to cater to Vince and Bruce for a paycheck and a token Raw Women's title win. You expect me to be happy for a woman like that? You know what that's called right there? That's called laziness. That's called complacency. That's called not knowing your worth. She is no better than Zelina Vega. Nikki Cross is no fucking better than what Zelina Vega did. And she came back to the company after the company treated her and her husband like shit. Sorry, I'm not going to be happy for a bitch who sacrificed everything that made her must-see and everything that had all the fans behind her just for the approval of a demented old man that she knows doesn't give a shit about her. This is more than just a shit gimmick or a token title win. This is a woman clearly not believing in herself. This is a woman clearly not knowing what she is worth. She could have gone anywhere. She could have gone to MLW, Ring of Honor, AEW, NWA with this all-women show that Mickie James is hosting on August 28th, reportedly. She's bringing all these fucking women from all different fucking promotions. Why the fuck wouldn't Nikki Cross want to do that? It may have been her idea, but it was an idea that she made out of desperation, out of laziness, out of complacency, because she doesn't fucking believe in herself, and she enjoys being treated like shit. She knows that the gimmick is an embarrassment. She knows that the gimmick sucks, but she did it because, hey, I'm getting paid. At least I'm getting used on TV. You expect me to be happy for laziness and complacency? Sorry, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to be happy for that whatsoever. The gimmick sucks. The character sucks. The cash-in sucks. The moment on Raw sucks. And the Raw Women's Division absolutely fucking sucks. Fact, 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 and fact. You don't like it? Suck my dick. And here's the crazy thing about it. Here's the fucked up thing about all this. If Nikki Cross was just going to cash in the night after Money in the Bank, why did Charlotte Flair needed to win the Raw Women's Championship from Rhea Ripley just to get a fucking token title win for one day? Oh, wait a minute, that's right. Charlotte Flair is the greatest of all time. And WWE's got to cater to their blonde princess Charlotte Flair because of her last name. Meanwhile, she don't deserve 75% of the fucking accomplishments that she's been given. She don't deserve 75% of the accomplishments that she's been given. And now, she's gonna, what? What's she gonna do? You think she's lasting a month without that championship? You honestly think that they're not gonna give that title back to Charlotte Flair? That title is going right back to Charlotte. It's either Charlotte's gonna win the title back at SummerSlam from Nikki Ash, or worse, we're going to get a triple threat match between Rhea, Nikki, and Charlotte. Rhea's going to win the title back by pinning Nikki, and Charlotte's going to take it off of Rhea again in the fall and bury her for a third time. And to be quite honest with you, I would not be surprised if WWE goes with the latter. Why did Rhea Ripley needed to be buried a second time at Money in the Bank if Charlotte was inevitably going to lose to Nikki Cross via a Money in the Bank cash-in? I'm never, ever going to support anyone that defends this, that says that she didn't turn her back on the fans, did Nikki Cross. I'm not going to support this gimmick. This gimmick sucks. It's not going to get over with the kids. Kids make fun of this. Kids make fun of this. If this was going to bring in kids, then the ratings would have been over 2 million. Because kids, there's a hell of a lot of fucking kids in the United States now, isn't there? So by that logic, kids would be attracted to this gimmick, and kids would be attracted to see Nikki Cross win the Raw Women's Championship from the evil Charlotte Flair. Did it work? No. And then people want to compare this shit to the fucking Hurricane. Do you realize how fucking dumb you sound? You want to compare this shit to the Hurricane? The Hurricane at the time was what, 20 years ago? That was during a time where the mentality of wrestling fans and the demand was much different. What works back then does not work now. What worked back then stays in the past. Now it's a much different fucking era. That's number one. Number two, do you realize who Shane Helms, the Hurricane, was working with at that time? He was working with The Rock, a man that is wildly touted as one of the greatest of all time. A guy who's on the Mount Rushmore of WWE for many of people. The Rock could stand out there and take a piss in the middle of the ring, and it would get cheered. He could cut a promo on a plastic mannequin that you see at JCPenney, and it would get over. Shane Helms had The Rock to work with. Who the fuck does Nikki Cross have to work with? Charlotte Flair? Charlotte Flair. Who the fuck has Charlotte Flair gotten over? And don't give me this bullshit excuse. Oh, well, did she get over Becky Lynch? No. No, she didn't. Nia Jax was the one that got over Becky Lynch because Nia broke her face. Charlotte Flair was merely an appetizer for the real main course, which was Nia breaking Becky's face, and that started the meteoric rise of Miss Becky Lynch. That was the birth of the man. Charlotte Flair was a mere appetizer for that. This moment sucked. This cash-in sucked. This gimmick will never get over. And no, not even Nikki Kross is going to be able to make it work. This gimmick is terrible. And I would not be surprised if the Raw ratings continue to fucking dip. That's their fucking answer to fucking CM Punk and Daniel Bryan joining AEW, right? Nikki trash. And if you support her, you are the fucking problem. And I hate you. I don't even want to continue the rest of the stream. I don't even want to continue the rest of the stream. No, I'm not going to smoke a blunt. No, I don't drink. All I need is a fucking Sprite. My phone's blowing up. My Twitter's blowing up right now. I had nearly 17 people in the chat at one point. I had nearly 17 people in the chat at one point. Holy shit. That was the Raw review. That was the Raw review. So, I told you. I told you it was going to be brutal. And I'm not done. We still got 4 more shows to talk about. My throat is killing me, just so you know. My throat is killing me. Let's check the chat. Check the chat. Proud Mixed Child, how you doing? Hula Grim, how you doing? Dee, hope you enjoyed my rants. Stevie says he ain't passing nothing. I think I just broke Stevie's spirit with that rant on Nikki Trash. Blazed Radio, glad that you stopped by. We got 28 likes. 12 people watching. 12 people watching, 28 likes. We are 2 likes away from 30. We are 2 likes away from 30. Hologram, screw you. We're going to talk about NXT. 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 Listen, I don't want to say it was a bad show. I don't want to say it was a bad show. NXT is never a bad show. NXT has never had a period where we have sit down and we've stated, oh my God, NXT, it's in such a shitty period, and man, they're just in such a horrible position right now. We've never seen NXT in that type of period, not like Monday Night Raw. NXT is never a bad show. But I want you guys to ask yourself this. Did you care about NXT? Were you invested in NXT? Were you glued to your television screen with NXT? Were you craving more NXT? I wasn't. There's no reason to. I don't even think anyone realizes the damage that was done when Karrion Kross lost. It's more than an undefeated streak. It's more than a guy being stripped of his entrance or being stripped of the lights and the smoke and his woman. It's much more than that. NXT, it's not because of the 2 hours. It's not because of the USA Network. NXT has been ripped of its essence because of Vince McMahon. And you're asking how? I want you guys to think about this for a minute. NXT is supposed to be the place where stars are born. It's supposed to be the place where stars are created, so that way Vince McMahon is prepared for the future of the company, right? But after what happened on NXT and after what happened on Raw with Karrion Kross losing, why exactly is there reason to care about NXT? Why? Why should we care? NXT, right now, more and more people are starting to realize that NXT is nothing more than a place in which stars are going to be created and then they're going to be destroyed as soon as they hit Raw or SmackDown. That is the top reason why people don't give a shit about NXT anymore. After what happened with Vince McMahon sending a message reportedly via Sean Ross Sapp, and I hate Sean Ross Sapp. I hate that rodent, but you know something? I don't deny a single word that he said or a single word that he was told. He's a very credible source, and I am not afraid to admit that. I do not deny one single word that he said. I believe everything that he was told. Everything. Vince McMahon and what has been going on with NXT for years now, it all stems from envy. Envy, jealousy, pettiness, stubbornness. Because Vince McMahon and his team, Vince McMahon and everything that's been going on with Vince McMahon, he's doing everything wrong. When was the last time Vince did something right? And I'm not saying that Triple H is perfect, but as an overall product, Triple H is doing things correctly. Even now, Triple H is doing things how things should be done. Triple H is doing things how modern day wrestling should be booked. Vince McMahon is too fucking stubborn to admit that he's wrong. He knows he's wrong, but he doesn't want to admit it. And he wants to continue doing things his way. So what does he do? He surrounds himself with all these fucking yes men to tell them that everything that he's doing is correct and everything that Triple H is doing is wrong. Meanwhile, it's actually reverse. Triple H is doing it right, Vince is doing it wrong. But Vince will never admit that because of his fucking ego. Vince will never admit that because of his fucking ego. It has nothing to do with NXT being 2 hours. It has nothing to do with them being on the USA Network. It has everything to do with Vince McMahon and his deep-rooted envy and hatred for everything that Triple H is doing. Everything. You take a look at the main roster. How many NXT superstars have gone on to have luxurious, successful careers? The Shield, the Horsewomen, maybe Asuka, and maybe Kevin Owens. Outside of those 8 or 9 people, everyone from NXT has failed. And why? Because Vince McMahon does not want anyone to succeed unless it's on his watch. So what does he do? He takes from NXT, he either books them like shit, he changes them, or he just completely kills them off altogether, and then when they don't work, he blames Triple H. Meanwhile, it's his fault. After what happened on Monday Night Raw with Karrion Kross, why should anyone, and I mean, why should anyone anyone even invest a single minute of their time in NXT if we're going to see all of these individuals go on and flourish in NXT for however long that they're in NXT, only to see them get destroyed when they get called up to Raw or SmackDown. Ruined, buried, underutilized, mishandled, and or released when all is said and done. How many fucking NXT call-ups should have gone on to be bigger than they were? Enzo and Cass, the Vaudevillains, The Ascension, FTR, Miro, Lio Rush, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Aleister Black, Andrade, Ricochet, Sanity, Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, everyone. All of those individuals should be at the top of the fucking card, and they're not. They're either lower mid-card, catering, released, or they're back in NXT. Why is it that only about 8 or 9 people out of 100, 150, 200 call-ups, why is it that only 8 or 9 people have succeeded? Why is anyone going to give a shit about anything that Triple H does and Triple H produces if when they get called up to the main roster, they're going to be stripped of everything that made them must-see and tarnished? Like I stated earlier on, Vince McMahon took a gigantic, wet, steaming, whale shark shit all over the entire NXT brand and showed you exactly what he thinks of NXT. Even now, even though NXT is not the same, Triple H is still upstaging NXT now. Or Triple H is still upstaging the main roster now. Look at TakeOver Vengeance Day back in February. That was held in the fucking Capitol Wrestling Center in front of, 30, 40, 50 live fans? And that show was better than both nights of WrestleMania 37 combined, with 30,000 fans on each night. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Who's doing it right and who's not? But of course, Vince McMahon is never going to admit that. Vince McMahon's never going to admit that because he thinks that he's doing everything right and he doesn't want to be told what to do. He doesn't want to be brought back to reality. He doesn't want anything to pop his little fantasy bubble. He wants to do things his way, his way, his way, and he doesn't want Triple H to mess with anything that he's doing. It is so fucking frustrating. As a fan, I have been a wrestling fan for 13 years, more than half of my fucking life. And I have never been more frustrated than I am now. And the crazy thing about it is, back then, during 2018, 2019, we kind of were aware that nobody in NXT was going to go on to have long, luxurious careers on the main roster. But now, it's just staring you dead in the face. And it's become more apparent than ever. And it's so fucking sad to see Vince McMahon. He is either just so fucking blinded by his own envy and pettiness that he doesn't even realize that he's killing his own company from the inside, or he does realize it and he just doesn't give a fuck. And if I'm a betting man, I'm going with the latter. I'm going with the latter. Because Vince McMahon doesn't give a fuck about anything. And here's what's even more fucked up. Here's what's even more fucked up. I don't think anyone's ever brought this one to light. After everything that Vince McMahon has done with everything that Triple H has created, Nakamura, Black, Andrade, Ricochet, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Bobby Roode, everyone. After everything that Triple H has created, and after everything that he's watched Vince McMahon destroy and tarnish on the main roster, NXT, for at least a year now, I've been feeling like they've been half-assing it. And I'm trying to think about why that is. Now, after what happened on Raw, I actually know why. Vince McMahon has made it his sole mission to fucking destroy Triple H's motivation, his drive, his energy, his love and passion for professional wrestling. Vince McMahon has broken his own son-in-law. Vince McMahon has absolutely broken his own son-in-law out of pettiness and envy and jealousy and anger and stubbornness. Why should Triple H put all of his time, money, and effort and passion and motivation and drive and energy into what he's doing in NXT if it's only going to result in them being destroyed on the main roster? He might as well just half-ass it now and be done with it. He might as well just half-ass it now and just completely forget about it. It is so fucking depressing as a fan to see that. And here's the crazy thing. Like I said, out of everyone, they took Kross, Karrion Kross, to make an example out of. Karrion Kross, a guy that checks all the boxes and has all the credentials of a Vince McMahon guy. They could have chosen anyone on that roster. Karrion Kross checks off all the boxes of being a Vince McMahon guy when you look at him. If Karrion Kross couldn't even get off on the right foot and all of his mystique and aura and everything that made Kross must see was destroyed, if Karrion Kross was buried within 2 minutes on night one, what makes you have any faith in Adam Cole, Bronson Reed, Roderick Strong, Kushida, Io Shirai, Ember Moon, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, MSK, Grizzled Young Veterans, Swerve, Escobar, Pete Dunne? What makes you have any faith in any of those guys if Karrion Kross couldn't even succeed? Kross was the final nail in the coffin. Kross was the straw that broke the camel's back. Karrion Kross was the last beacon of hope. Karrion Kross was the last beacon of hope that anyone in NXT had, and those hopes were dashed within 2 minutes flat on Monday Night Raw. It's not even fun or exciting to watch NXT anymore. It's not. It's not. Because at the end of the fucking day, everyone on that roster is going to suffer the same exact fate. Buried, ruined, mishandled, underutilized, and or released. Simple as that. Simple as that. NXT wasn't a bad show by any means. We had some takeover build, we had some decent wrestling, but who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? No one is going to invest any time in NXT if this is going to be the end result. Karrion Kross buried. Everything that happened with Kross, why should we have any faith that anyone else is going to succeed? And what's even more fucked up is, what is he going to do? What is Vince McMahon going to do when all the main guys are gone? What is he going to do when Edge has gone back to retirement? What's he going to do when Lesnar doesn't want to do it anymore? When Randy Orton's retired? When Roman and Seth are gone? When John Cena is Hollywood full-time? What's he going to do? What, are you going to stroll Goldberg and The Undertaker out to the ring in wheelchairs and have them fight in the main event of WrestleMania 55? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it's going back to what I said. Vince knows exactly what he's doing, and he just doesn't give a shit because of his own fucking envy, pettiness, jealousy, and his ego. Fuck the Monday Night Wars. Fuck the Wednesday Night Wars. The greatest war is between WWE and themselves. It's between Vince McMahon's ego and Triple H. The entire wrestling world, outside of a few idiots on social media that are WWE cocksuckers, the entire wrestling world is laughing at the WWE. The entire wrestling world is laughing at the WWE and everything that they are doing. They're imploding from the inside. They're imploding from the inside, and they are absolutely going to be the death of themselves At this rate, AEW doesn't even need to do anything. They just need to continue doing what they're doing, and they're just going to sit back and watch the WWE world burn to the fucking ground. With Punk and Bryan coming in, I am telling you right now, the tides were already changing. They're going to shift quicker than anyone could even imagine. You thought 2021 was a crazy fucking year for AEW. Just wait until 2022. Just wait until 2022. I'm getting goosebumps just even thinking about it. I'm getting goosebumps just even thinking about it. The blood is pumping through my fucking veins. But what are they going to do? What is WWE going to do when all of the main guys, Roman, Seth, Orton, Edge, Cena, Goldberg, Lesnar, what are they going to do when they're all gone? You're going to have no one to fall back on. And the ratings are starting to show that. You can't keep on falling back on these guys. You need to start creating new stars. And that's not going to happen until Vince McMahon is gone. Whether he resigns, whether he dies, croaks, whatever it may be. Nothing is going to happen. No change is going to be implemented until Vince is finally gone. I will never, ever give this company the benefit of the doubt again. I will never again fully invest my time in NXT, and I will never, ever again care about anything that this company is doing. Yes, I'm still going to watch. Yes, I'm still going to be a fan, because that's who I am. This was not a bad show, but who cares? I'm just going to try and get through the rest of the fucking shows. Realistically, the only shows that are worth talking about are Dynamite and NXT UK, but NXT wasn't a bad show, but who gives a shit? Samoa Joe came out. He kicked off the show. He took the mic. He goes, tick-tock, tick-tock, guess who's come to smash your clock? William Regal came out and he told Joe, you cannot be calling out superstars. Joe said, you can consider me provoked. They went back and forth, and Joe says, Kross is out of control. Did you know about this little field trip to Raw? I'm going to have to put him under control. Regal told Joe that this will end peacefully. Joe says, tonight it will end, but I can guarantee you tonight someone's going to sleep. Awesome stuff, but who gives a shit? Roderick Strong and Tyler Rust of Diamond Mine versus Kushida and Bobby Fish. It's a very good tag team match for what it was. I don't really understand why Diamond Mine lost, but I am not really all too concerned about that because it was not Roderick Strong, because Roderick Strong is ultimately going to be the man that takes the title off of Kushida at TakeOver 36, I'm assuming, which is going to be a very good match, and I'm very, very, very happy to see Roderick Strong having some semblance of success outside of the Undisputed Era. But this was a very good match. We had Strong and Rust with some stiff moves. Fish got the tag, hit a sliding clothesline for a 2. Russian Strong took over, backbreaker on the apron, coming back from a second commercial. Rust with an axe kick to Fish for a 2. Fish was isolated before he made the hot tag to Kushida. We had a hip toss drop kick for a 2 on Strong. Rust with a gut wrench powerbomb. Kushida then locked in an ankle lock. Rust with a flipping neck breaker. That got a 2. Fish took out Strong and Kushida with a hoverboard lock, and Tyler Rust tapped out. Very good tag team match. Don't understand why Diamond Mine lost, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Strong and Kushida at TakeOver 36, which was announced for Sunday, August 22nd, 2021. Frankie Monet versus JC Jane. JC got some offense, but this was nothing more than a showcase match for Miss Frankie Monet. She won with the Glam Slam for a 2. Mandy Rose actually came out to watch the match, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Mandy Rose hasn't given us an explanation. Next week, we got Bronson Reed versus Adam Cole. That should be a great match. We got a very good match with Kyle O'Reilly and Austin Theory. Austin Theory, he should be a major star, and I really do hope that Austin Theory gets at least a North American title reign in the future. O'Reilly was in control before Theory took over. He wore down O'Reilly with some kicks. Theory with a roll-through blockbuster for a 2. O'Reilly caught with a deadlift. Fisherman suplex by Theory. O'Reilly then with some swift strikes We had an underhook armbar by O'Reilly. He transitioned into an ankle lock. Theory got to the ropes. Theory went then with a torture rack bomb for a 2. Theory with a cross-legged knee drop brainbuster for a 2. Theory then got bounced off the steps. O'Reilly hit axe and smash, diving knee to the knee, and a heel hook, and Theory taps out. This was a very good match. I'm assuming that O'Reilly and Cole is going to be a staple match at TakeOver 36, and that's going to end the feud between those two. Legado del Fantasma, they were going to have a Mariachi Madness musical, but Escobar said, "Stop, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to need you." So he shunned the mariachi band out. He says, "I'm not going to lower myself to entertain you. You ain't worth it. I'm not going to do the hit row thing. I'll tell you what my style is, being a true, real campeon. I'll take that North American title and put it up with blood, heritage, familia." Hit Row then came out, and B-Fab called the mariachi music trash. AJ Francis, Top Dollar, says, "I see you and I smell gato." He says, "I was bigger than all of you in 6th grade. That's not a rap, that's just a fact." Swerve then said, "Consider this payback. Family is everything, right? The fruits of the Phantasma labor is beautiful to see until I make Santos my bitch." So the two factions faced off. Swerve and Escobar went at it, while the other four, they had a little back and forth. Escobar took a guitar. He was going to smash it over Swerve before B-Fab stopped him. She gave the guitar to Swerve. Escobar got out of dodge, while Joaquin Wilde was on the receiving end of a guitar shot to the back. Wilde took it like a champ, I will say. This was very good, but the crowd didn't really know how to take to it. Not really sure what the end game is, but again, the crowd just didn't really know how to take to it. Not really sure where this is going, but I assume that it's going to result in Swerve and Escobar for the NXT North American Championship, which I have absolutely no problem with. I think that is going to be a great match. And I do love the callback to when they were fighting over the Cruiserweight title and how Swerve was the one chasing, Escobar was the champion. Now Swerve is the champion, Escobar is the one chasing. It's a nice little play on history and how the roles are reversed. I like that. We had Andre Chase versus Odyssey Jones. NXT Breakout Tournament first round. This really was not anything of major substance. This was very, very quick. They didn't look bad. Odyssey Jones didn't look bad. He's got something. He's athletic for a big guy. He's got something. He's going to have to work on his timing a little bit more. He's going to have to work on his selling a little bit more. But I do see something in Odyssey Jones. He's got potential. Andre Chase, he's athletic, but I don't really see too much in him. Odyssey Jones, he's going to be the guy to watch out for. I'd like to see how he favors. Maybe he wins the whole thing. Who knows? But Odyssey Jones wins here with a modified Uranagi. Andre Chase looked decent here and there, but this really wasn't anything all that special. Next week, we got Josh Briggs versus Carmelo Hayes in the Breakout Tournament. We also got Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne versus Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher next week. Should be good. LA Knight versus Drake Maverick. So Maverick actually got the win here because LA Knight was too focused on Cameron Grimes holding up the $1 Million Championship. Knight actually got drop-kicked into the title head first, and Maverick rolled him up for the win. Then LA Knight attacked Drake Maverick, and this is where things really started to get interesting. Grimes was like, let's go, let's just go. He pulled Knight off of Maverick, and Knight goes, no, wait. It's your turn. So Knight demanded that Cameron Grimes hit Maverick, and Cameron Grimes did just that. He was obviously not happy, and Knight relished in his glory. I'm loving this program, and when Cameron Grimes and LA Knight face off on TakeOver, it's going to be a great fucking match with Cameron Grimes coming out victorious. Xia Li versus Raquel Gonzalez. This was for the NXT Women's Championship. Raquel Gonzalez and Xia Li, decent match, but we had a little scare with Xia Li. So I did receive news that Xia Li was okay. She was okay. She just got the wind knocked out of her. So Raquel Gonzalez, she was toying with Xia early before Lee sent Raquel's leg into the post multiple times, wearing down the big woman. Raquel came back with a nice fallaway slam and a drop kick for a 2. Lee with a PK to the back and a tornado kick to the back for a 2. Gonzalez then with a modified Vader bomb senton. Lee just barely kicked out. She looked legitimately hurt. She looked like she may have broken a rib or she got the wind knocked out of her, but she was okay. She was okay. Afterwards, the one-armed powerbomb was hit, and Raquel Gonzalez retains, and now it looks like Xia Li's going to be moving on to the main roster, while Raquel Gonzalez, she's going to move on to potentially Dakota Kai at TakeOver 36. Afterwards, Samoa Joe came out, no music, he was focused as ever, he goes, Karrion Kross, come out to play, where, oh where is my young champion? He vowed that there will be a reckoning. Stroll your happy ass out here so I can start stomping it all over this arena. Kross then came up on the big screen and said, this is not the same NXT that you were once in. This is my world, and I can do whatever I want. For example, and he showed William Regal laid out in the parking lot. Kross then left in his beautiful car as Joe strolled down to the parking lot, and he was legitimately pissed. Awesome stuff, but I just don't care. I can never look at Karrion Kross the same ever again. Not after what happened. That was NXT. Decent show, but I don't understand why there's any reason for anyone to give a shit. We're over 2 hours. Thank you guys for sticking by. Thank you, Dee, Proud, Mixed Child. Thank you, Hanson the Man. Thank you, Hula Grim. Thank you, David Maniscalco. We are at 31 likes. You guys are fucking beasts. You guys are awesome. I want to see if we can get to at least 35 likes or maybe even 40 likes. So, people, if you haven't already liked the stream, get to liking the stream. We're going to talk about AEW Fyter Fest Night 2. Then we'll talk about NXT UK and Smackdown. Thank you again, everyone, for sticking by me. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. You guys are awesome. Let's talk about AEW Fyter Fest Night number 2. Chris Jericho and Shawn Spears. This was the first labor of Jericho. Shawn Spears, he could use a chair, but Jericho could not. So MJF was on commentary. He was great, by the way. Jericho was playing up to the crowd. Crowd was hyped. Spears threw a chair at Jericho's face. Spears was in control before he threw Jericho off the top. That got a 2 count. Spears is very underrated, by the way. Jericho then mounted a comeback. He hit a nice Hurricane Rana off the top. Spears came back with a super kick for a 2. Spears with a pop-up spine buster for a 2. Spears, he then beat down Jericho with a chair. Jericho locked in the walls. It was locked in deep before Tully Blanchard caused a distraction. Sammy Guevara came out to handle Tully. Spears hit Jericho with a chair and then hit him with the C4, but Jericho just kicked out. Jericho then sent Spears into a chair head first. He sidestepped him, and then Jericho hit the Judas effect, and Jericho won the match. Very fun match. Probably the second best match of the night, and it is going to be a very, very, very interesting month for AEW, considering the next labor is someone that I did not expect, and it's going to be fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. So MJF took the mic. He said, "Congratulations, Chris, you passed Labor 1, but if anyone else comes to help you, the deal is off. Labor number 2 is a no DQ match against a man who is so sadistic. He stabbed his opponent in the jugular. He once robbed a bank with no mask on. Labor number 2 is Nick freaking Gage. Man, it is going to be a fucking war next week. And Jericho's bringing the Painmaker. Should be damn good. Miro said he's going to defend the TNT title at the Homecoming show for AEW. I'm assuming it's probably going to be either against Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin, since Darby Allin is done with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, so Darby's going to get his rematch against Miro. Doc Gallows versus Frankie Kazarian. Gallows using his power early on. This was pretty much a throwaway match. Kazarian was on the defense before he mounted a comeback. Back suplex and a springboard leg drop for a 2. Gallows then with a roundhouse kick after a distraction by Anderson and a double choke bomb. Gallows wins. The Good Brothers then attacked Kazarian and delivered a magic killer out before Don Callis and Kenny by God Omega made his way out to the ring. Then we had the Elite coming down to the ring to make an example out of Kazarian. Omega said, "You've been a thorn in my side, and the Elite Hunter has become the Elite Hunted." Out came Hangman. He was alone. Callis pointed out he was alone. Hangman didn't give a fuck. He went right at it with the Good Brothers, and out came the Dark Order, and the Dark Order and Page stood tall. Decent little segment, and we have a stacked show for next week as well. Wheeler Yuta versus Darby Allin. This was a very fun little segment here. Darby Allin got to the ropes as Yuta locked in an octopus stretch. We had a snap German suplex by Yuta for a 2. Darby then with a mega superplex on Yuta, and both men were down. This was one of my favorite parts of the show. Sting and Darby Allin had a face-off. Sting and Darby delivered light kicks to each other. The crowd was eating this shit up. They did a double light super kick, and then Sting, in typical Sting fashion, with this half-assed chest beat, the light chest beat. And he just kept a straight face. This was fucking great. This was great. And I love the fact that they don't overexpose shit like this. When shit like this happens, it's fun, and it happens once in a while. Love it. So, that was very fun. Darby ended up winning with the over-the-top stunner and the coffin drop. I assume that Darby will get a rematch against Miro at some point. We had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She took on Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's World Championship. This was a very sloppy match at points, but here's what I will say. This really wasn't all that exciting. Not really all that exciting. All that crisp. But it's not boring. This match was not boring whatsoever. And the crowd actually made it better than it was. So I will give the crowd credit there. And I'll give Britt Baker and Nyla credit for trying to work to make things work out well. But it was very sloppy at points. Still, not as bad as what we saw with fucking Rhea Ripley and Charlotte on Raw. But still. So Nyla with a big military press slam to take over control. Nyla was then sent into the turnbuckle to take over. Britt tried to wear down Nyla before Nyla hit a Uranagi and a big backbreaker and a fallaway slam. Nyla then missed a cannonball. Baker with a sling blade. There was a little botch where the crowd obviously called out the referee for not counting 3. Nyla Rose with a Death Valley driver and a diving knee drop right onto Britt Baker's neck before she kicked out. Baker then with a swinging neck breaker. She delivered some super kicks for a 2. Nyla then with a choke slam for a 2. Britt Baker with a crucifix bomb very sloppily. 2 curb stomps connected, but Nyla still kicked out. Nyla with a big forearm. Britt Baker then tried to pull an Eddie Guerrero. Excuse me. Britt Baker tried to pull an Eddie Guerrero and use the championship, but the ref caught her. Nyla then with a beast bomb. Britt Baker just barely kicked out. Baker then locked in the lockjaw, and Nyla Rose tapped out. Britt Baker retains the AEW Women's World Championship, and Britt Baker continues to build on her momentum. I expect either her and Rosa or her and Statlander at All Out. Tony Schiavone interviewed Andrade El Idolo. So Shivani was told by Andrade, take it easy, tranquilo. Andrade said, has a big surprise for everyone, and Shivani was told by the butler, quote-unquote, of Andrade, welcome the new executive counsel to Andrade, Chavo Guerrero. And I love this move. This is a great move. Chavo then took the mic and he says, wow, you remember me, because this is Dallas, Texas, and I hear that this is the place to be, but with all due respect, no matter how great the people in the back are, I don't see anyone with as much talent as this man right here. All of a sudden, Death Triangle came out. Pac, Phoenix, Penta. He goes, Mr. Andrade, I don't know who you think you are, but we heard our name in your mouth, and let it be known that Death Triangle hides from no one. So Andrade, he goes, with me, I am an elite superstar. Chavo goes, you know, you guys are all talented, but your waists, they're not shiny enough, meaning you don't have gold. You want to change that? Listen to this man, meaning Andrade. Andrade goes, why do you work for Pac? Why don't you work for Andrade El Idolo? Phoenix then says, we're the real face of Latinos. Death Triangle then surrounded the ring before Andrade and Chavo left as Death Triangle came into the ring. So I actually think this is going to result in Death Triangle, a.k.a. Pac, being turned on by Rey Fenix and Penta. And Penta and Phoenix, they're going to go on with Andrade, because I don't necessarily see that Andrade is going to be in a championship feud anytime soon, specifically because there's a lot of people ahead of him. You're not just going to thrush him into a world title scenario now. So they're going to make do with what they got. But I think that Andrade versus Pac as an undercard match for All Out, I think it's going to be great. We had The Blade versus Orange Cassidy. This was actually a very good match for what it was. Blade can actually go. Night 1, obviously, of Fyter Fest was better than Night 2, though. So Cassidy came up behind the Blade. Cassidy came from behind the Blade after the Blade attacked Cassidy. The Blade, he looked to screw up his knee. The Blade then faked it, actually. He's a damn good seller. We had a Stun Dog Millionaire by Cassidy. Blade then caught Cassidy with a brutal gut-wrench powerbomb on the top turnbuckle. Looked nasty. The Blade then took over with Orange Cassidy with a crossbody and a satellite DDT for a 2. Statlander and the Bunny then went at it. Cassidy accidentally took out Statlander with a suicide dive, and the Blade got sent into the Bunny. The Blade then took Cassidy into the ring with a spinning tombstone for a 2. Cassidy then with Beach Break, but Blade kicked out. Blade then missed with the brass knuckles shot, and Cassidy hit the orange punch for the win. Decent little match. I fully expect Orange Cassidy to be a top contender for Miro and the TNT Championship, though I don't see him winning. We got a stacked fucking show for Fight for the Fallen. We got FTR versus Proud and Powerful. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express versus Angelico and Private Party. Nick Gage versus the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, in a no-rules match. Hikuleo versus the IWGP United States Champion, which was Lance Archer. And Tony Khan makes a special huge announcement, and the Elite take on Hangman and the Dark Order. It's going to be damn good. And then on AEW's Homecoming show, we see Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. I love it. Main event. Texas Deathmatch, IWGP United States Championship. This was fucking crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy here. Archer came out with kendo sticks. He was the hometown hero. They brawled into the crowd, hitting each other with kendo sticks into the stands. Archer then took a random fan and just threw it at Moxley. Fucking crazy start. Fucking great. Archer then tore apart the mat. Moxley then hit a paradigm shift on the exposed concrete. Archer was busted open. Moxley then brought in a fork and just stabbed Archer with it. We had Archer he then punched a trash can lid out of Moxley's hand. Tables were set up on the outside. Lance then caught a German suplex. He rolled through, hit a big boot and a black hole slam. Trash can right to the face. Moxley then with a low blow. The chairs were set up back to back, the edges of the chairs. And Moxley got chokeslammed right onto the edges of the chairs, fucking crushing his spine. Crowd chanting AEW. Moxley then with a paradigm shift, but Archer got up, flipped off Moxley. Moxley then pulled out barbed wire boards, and he put them on the tables. Lance stabbed Moxley with the fork, and then he chokeslammed Moxley through the barbed wire and the tables for the win. Crazy fucking match. Right outcome. Lance Archer very happy he got this moment. And next week we got Hikuleo, who is bigger than fucking Lance Archer, taking on Lance Archer next week for the IWGP United States Championship. I love it. I love it. Very, 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 very fun show. Not as good as night one, but still very fun. El Indigo Unshiha, how you doing? Be sure to hit that like button. Thank you very much, everyone sticking around. We got 2 more shows to go over, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm kind of exhausted after ranting for God knows how fucking long. NXT UK. Not a bad show, but it seemed like a throwaway show altogether, specifically because of the main thing on the show was the tag team title match between Subculture and Pretty Deadly. So, outside of that, there really wasn't much on the show. Sid Scala, he announced Walter sustained an injury. William Regal and Triple H and Shawn Michaels announced that Walter vs. Dragunov will take place on August 22nd at TakeOver 36, which must be the date in which Dragunov beats Walter. Hands down. Laura DiMatteo took on Nina Samuels. DiMatteo didn't look half bad here, but this was a showcase for Nina Samuels. Nina Samuels won with the TKO GTS for the win. And Nina Samuels, she could be looking at the NXT UK Women's Champion in Meiko Satomura. Tio Man and Rohan Raja, they were in the back, sitting at a table, talking about family. Really good stuff right here. I'm actually loving the pairing between Rohan Raja and Tio Man. I'm loving it. So, after that, we had Supernova 11 Sessions with Ginny and Joseph Connors. This was really just a throwaway segment. Really nothing to invest your time in. Dar was being his usual self, asking what Ginny's phone number is, and he's a fashionista too. He's like, here, take a little feel of my shirt. Take a little feel. That's boyfriend material. I actually got to give Noam Dar credit. He actually made this segment very entertaining. At the end of this, Ginny called out Eva Valkyrie, and Ginny said she'll be the person that finally destroys Eva Valkyrie. So that was that. Tristan Archer took on Joseph Connors. Connors won with the Hangman's Neckbreaker. Afterwards, Eva Valkyrie watched along from behind the barricade before Ginny came down to greet her, and Valkyrie gave her a feather and left. So it looks like we're going to get Eva Valkyrie versus Ginny. That's going to be a damn good women's match. Subculture versus Pretty Deadly. This is for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. This was the best thing on the show. Realistically, the only good thing worth watching on the show. If you want to go back and watch it, I highly encourage you go back out and watch it. This was a great tag team match. Andrews was isolated by Pretty Deadly before Andrews came back with some stiff strikes. Webster got the hot tag. We had a big jumping lariat to Sam Stoker. Drop kick to Howley. We had Angel's Wings on Stoker by Webster for a 2. We had a pop-up Hurricane Rana to Howley. Double Tope Con Heroes by Subculture. We had a springboard moonsault onto Howley for a 2. Assisted Sunset Flip Powerbomb by Subculture. Stoker then kicked out. We had a big lariat to Webster. An assisted code breaker by Pretty Deadly for a 2. Pretty Deadly are actually very, very good. They may look like pretty boys. But I'm telling you, Pretty Deadly, they can fucking go. Pretty Deadly are a damn good fucking tag team, and I'm actually very happy they got this opportunity as tag team champions. They are pretty boys that know how to wrestle, and they know how to get heel heat because they look good. They look good doing it. They just have punchable faces. Pretty Deadly are damn good. So, Andrews then with a double Pele kick, and Pretty Deadly with some double team action before Webster saved the match. Stun Dog Millionaire and a Poison Rana V-Trigger before Stoker was able to kick out. Andrews then with a Tornado DDT onto Howley on the floor. Webster with a running knee. This is where I thought Subculture had it won. Fall to pieces missed. Howley then saved his partner. Webster got dropped over the barricade. Howley then took the title to distract the ref, causing a big commotion. Pretty Deadly hit Spilled Milk, and Pretty Deadly retained the championships. And based on what happened here, I actually do believe that with Mustache Mountain back together, I do believe that Mustache Mountain is going to end up being the team that takes the titles off of Pretty Deadly, of course, when the time is right. Of course, when the time is right. But this was a great match, and that's all I could say about that. Really nothing to NXT UK this week, but a great tag team title match. Smackdown, we had a decent show, but I don't understand why anyone would care. Decent show, but everything WWE main roster related, it's just dead. It really is just dead. Even what Roman Reigns is doing, I don't even know what they're doing with Roman. Everything is just dead. I'm sorry. Cena kicked off the show. He hyped up the crowd. He was going, who's the last guy that they can call to check that egomaniac Roman Reigns? Cleveland, we all know that this is SmackDown, and we are a few heartbeats away from Cena and Roman face-to-face. SmackDown with Roman Reigns as its champion absolutely sucks. He says, but you all deserve to stand up and be heard. We are live and in your face. SummerSlam is the chance to stand up for what you believe in. Whose team are you on? Team Jorts or Team Cargo Pants? Team Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect or Team that the fans always reject? Team Cena or Team Roman? Speaking of Roman, where the hell is he? After SummerSlam, he'll realize that the champ is here. So Cena encouraged Roman to come out. Paul Heyman came out. Ladies and gentlemen, John Cena, you have it all wrong, said Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns can't see you? No, Roman Reigns can't hear you because you're simply not worth him listening to. You're simply not worth him listening to, but tonight you will get an answer to your challenge, but only when Roman decides to come out and show you that the tribal chief is here. Paul Heyman then mocked John Cena's theme song. He was going, I fucking love Paul Heyman. He is a fucking genius. He is fucking fantastic. And I aspire to be like Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's fantastic. Funniest thing on the show. We moved into Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, which is actually the best match on the show. This was a very good match for what it was. It went about 10 minutes. Balor took over control with a big Tope Con hero. Coming back from commercial, Sami with a lariat for a 2. Balor then came back with a sling blade. Eye of the Hurricane. Sami then, with a great looking spot right here, caught Balor mid-air into a blue thunder bomb. Looked phenomenal. Balor then reversed an exploder, rolled through double stomp, shotgun drop kick twice, and the coup de grace. And Finn Balor and Sami Zayn, they put on a very, very good match for what it was. In typical WWE fashion, they give away a SummerSlam match for free on SmackDown. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this match 5 more times leading up until the pay-per-view. But this was the best match of the night. Corbin was being interviewed saying he lost more money. Who gives a shit? Big E then came out to hype up his Money in the Bank ladder match win. He said, Cleveland, Sunday, July 18th is the night that I will never forget. I got no business jumping off ladders. Apollo Crews then interrupted. He congratulated Big E. Crews relished in his victory over Big E at WrestleMania. Rude and Ziggler then came out. He says, you better be talking about the Dirty Dogs when you're talking about the Intercontinental title. Then we had Rick Boogs came out. We did not hear the Shinsuke Nakamura. We did not hear that, unfortunately, which I was severely disappointed at. I'm not sure why we didn't hear the Shinsuke Nakamura. We should have. I don't know why we didn't. So, the crowd's going nuts to Nakamura's theme song. Then out came Cesaro, and he goes, I want that title. Apollo, it's swing time. So we get a big brawl with Cesaro swinging Apollo for a minute. The babyfaces stood tall. Actually, while WWE was at the Rolling Loud Festival, we actually had this six-man tag take place for the people in Cleveland. Now, this was a complete clusterfuck of a segment. This was very, very lazy, very complacent, but here's what I will say. If this leads to Cesaro versus Apollo Crews and Cesaro beating Crews for the Intercontinental title, I am all for that. I'm all for it. So we had Wale coming to you live from the Rolling Loud Festival. Setup looked very nice. The crowd looked great. The atmosphere felt great, but they did not give a single shit. And after what happened here, this should only be a one-time thing. They should never go back to that again. This was not good at all. No one knew how to fucking react. The matches weren't really all that special. They were about 5 minutes at most. Gable and Dawkins and Carmella and Bianca both had 5-minute matches. No one really gave a shit. Chad Gable and Angelo Dawkins, they had a match. Dawkins won with the spine buster. Afterwards, Bianca and Carmella, they had their Smackdown Live Women's Championship match. No one really gave a shit. Decent little match. Bianca wins with the KOD. Crowd was actually chanting, we want Bobby, which was the next act after this. No one gave a shit about anything, and it was a terrible fucking look. I get it, mainstream attention, but at least make an effort to mix mainstream with wrestling fans. No one gave a fuck about this match. Besides, the Rolling Loud Festival is a bunch of hacks anyway. Bianca retains. Made no sense to have this match. I'm assuming we'll see Sasha Banks next week. They better, because they need to start building towards SummerSlam. Kevin Owens was in the back. He gave Corbin some cash before the Dirty Dogs stole the money after Shotzi Blackheart shot her dart from her tank right into Corbin's balls. Kevin Owens then saved Corbin. If this means we're getting a tag team between Owens and Corbin, I don't give a shit. This is actually below Kevin Owens. Baron Corbin, lone wolf or bust with Baron Corbin. Enough. Absolutely enough of this shit. Bring back the fucking lone wolf. Is that so hard? Just fucking bring him back. No one gives a shit about Corbin. Edge came out to address what happened at Money in the Bank. He says, you have no idea what those reactions do for me. You know what I've done and how hard I fought to get this back. And you also know I should be standing here as Universal Champion, but I'm not. And there's a reason for that. Why? Seth Rollins. I realize this goes back to 2014 when we first met, but you didn't pull the trigger. But now I'm back. I'm here, and I'm in your way. And I learned from the most evil minds in the history of this industry. I learned from the Brood. I learned from the Ministry of Darkness. And you're going to find out. So Rollins then came out. Acting all cocky, and he goes, did somebody say my name? Oh, hey, it's Grandpa Edge. talking about the man he used to be. Edge then told Rollins to shut up. Rollins made his way down to the ring and he says, I was coming here to talk about how much I despise this city and people like you and John Cena jumping the line to take opportunities away from people like me. I was going to talk about all those things, but I actually agree with the people of Cleveland. I'm thrilled to see you back because you have been such a scumbag to me that nothing would make me happier than to crush your dreams. And if you keep pushing me, they're going to be talking about the man who ended you. They're going to be talking about Seth freaking Rollins. I had a chance to take you out, but I hesitated. But when I get the opportunity again, I will not hesitate to pull the trigger. And then he goes, bang, bang, poof, there goes your neck, up in smoke. Then Edge goes, remember when I said I wasn't going to put my hands on you? Yeah, I lied. So we get a big brawl, Edge with an execution to Seth Rollins. Rollins then dodged the spear. Edge then stood tall. This was an excellent segment right here. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Rollins and Edge produce. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. They're going to tell a great story. And if they do things correctly, it could possibly steal the show at SummerSlam. Toni Storm versus Zelina Vega. You expect anything less. Zelina Vega, back to being a jobber. Zelina Vega returned to the WWE. She's 0-3. Yet you want me to have respect for Zelina Vega. What a fucking bimbo. Toni Storm won with a flipping hip toss into an RKO. Absolutely looked fantastic. If you guys didn't see it, it looked great. Zelina Vega, back to being a glorified enhancement talent. There's no way Zelina Vega is ever going to succeed. Toni Storm, I give Toni Storm 5 months at most. I give her till Survivor Series. I give Toni Storm until Survivor Series before she's in catering and she is given the Ruby Riott treatment. Guarantee it. Karrion Kross couldn't succeed. Toni Storm ain't succeeding. Jimmy Uso versus Booyaka 619, Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Jimmy tried to wear down Dominic. Rey took out Jay with a senton. Dominic with a crossbody onto Jimmy. Coming back from commercial, Dominic with a neck breaker and a senton atomico. We had the Three Amigos reversed into an enziguri. 619 connected. Jimmy came back with a super kick for a close 2 count. Jimmy and Dominic with a very sloppy looking ending. Reversals and roll-ups looked discombobulated as fuck, looked very sloppy. And Jay aided Jimmy just like they did at Money in the Bank. Decent little match right here, who gives a shit? Roman Reigns then came out with Paul Heyman. He took the mic. He says, Cleveland, acknowledge me. You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me. You might as well. Everyone's acknowledging me. John Cena acknowledged me, but to be honest, I wanted to acknowledge John, but I thought that we were going to get something new, but he put on a nostalgia act at Money in the Bank. Same entrance, same promo, same slide to the ring, same insults. If I wanted a nostalgia act, all I needed to do was look up online and look up 2005 John Cena. It's like missionary position every single night. And the tribal chief ain't interested in that. But you're right, I can't see you. Because I don't want to see you. You're not worth me seeing. And you're not seeing me in the main event of SummerSlam because my answer to your challenge is no. All of a sudden, Finn Balor came out and he goes, if you're not interested in John Cena's challenge, maybe you're interested in mine. Roman then goes to the crowd after the crowd was chanting Roman's scared, and then he goes, challenge accepted. And that is how Smackdown went off the air. I don't really know what this means. I don't really give a shit what this means. I don't really care what this means. I don't understand why you're doing Finn Balor now. Finn Balor's realistically the guy that you should be building up to take the title off of Roman. I don't understand why you're putting that now. Do we get a triple threat match? I wouldn't do that. Just do Cena versus Roman. I don't know what's going to happen. Is this going to be a one-off on SmackDown? That's a terrible fucking idea. You're just having Roman squash another babyface. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's the way SmackDown went off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Proud Mixed Child. Thank you, Hula Grim, Rob Wells Jr., Earl Cole, Adam, Carl, David Maniscalco, Peanuts, Cameron Johnson, Stevie, Hanson the Man. Thank you very much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Over 30 likes. It was great. You guys stay blessed. Have a blessed weekend. I'm going to go relax. I'm going to go enjoy my weekend. And I'm just going to veg out. I'm definitely going to relax tomorrow as well, since tomorrow is Sunday. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. Hope you enjoyed all my rants and me losing my voice. And I will catch you some other time. Peace.